I'd like to welcome Jeff Libler from Automotive Product Consultants, or APC, to the show. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Paul. Glad to be here.
All right, so the car industry has been very interesting the last couple of years, insofar as we all know that there's not much in the way of inventory to sell. So that cuts into an area of profit on the sales side of things. Generally speaking, the F&I department generates a good chunk of profit for the store. However, in order for that to occur, you need to actually have cars to sell. If you don't have a car to sell, generally there's a lot less people going into the F&I office, and as a result of that, less product sold. I know BC, or before COVID, usually about 7 in 10 customers walk out of the finance office not having purchased any sort of extended service contract. So those are missed opportunities which most stores don't have a plan of attack to recoup. So tell us or share with us how APC fixes that problem for the dealers, Jeff.
Well, we recognize the same things that you're recognizing, and we're proud of the fact that APC can be a revenue source for dealers right now that doesn't require them to sell a vehicle. So what we try to do for a dealer is help him capitalize on all those missed opportunities by marketing to them on the dealer's behalf as his logo, brand, and signature, and try to make it so that he doesn't surrender all those people to the third-party robocallers, which has now become a billion-dollar industry.
Now, you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we get inundated with mail, email, all kinds of communications from all these third-party sources that really have nothing to do with the dealership, yet they're chasing the business. So the fact that the communication from APC actually is coming from the dealer, because I know that the card they get is signed by the dealer, they're more likely to positively receive that communication because they know they've just spent a chunk of money with that dealer, and they'd be open to getting communication from the dealer.
Absolutely. It's so important that whatever a customer sees is validated that it's from the dealership, because they're being inundated from all sides.
Now, the robocalling thing, that is a huge problem, because I don't know about you, but my phone, even though I'm on the do not call list for marketers, I get blown up almost daily with robocalls for extended warranty coverage. I get emails regularly. I'm even getting some text messaging pushing somebody else's third-party extended warranty. And it's been my experience that some of those coverages are not exactly up to par. And when that customer goes into the service department thinking they have a warranty, oftentimes they're not covered. So how does APC differ in that area?
Oh, that's so correct. And I talk to a lot of service managers who have to face those customers that have bought inferior coverage that they can't honor. And now the dealer's got a CSI problem because they're in his store and they're having to pay for a repair or be turned away. So the key is that we offer to a customer the same type coverage that the dealer would be offering in F&I. We mirror the coverage that he normally offers so that it's quality coverage, and a customer can be assured that what they're buying can actually be used in the service department. And I think dealers get caught up with their day-to-day operations and they complain about the robocalls, but they don't realize that it's a growing business for one reason. It's been successful.
Yeah.
There were 13 billion robocalls on service contracts in year 2020. So if even 1% of those results in a sale, more people are going to jump in and try to get into that business. So it's become a big business stealing the dealer's customers. And I think they're so caught up in their day-to-day that they don't even realize it.
And with some of these companies, they don't really care what coverage they offer. As long as they get some revenue inbound, that's really all they care about. There's really no vested interest to to look out for the dealer because they're just in it for the money, whereas APC more partners with the dealership so that you can ensure that not only are they getting a quality product, but they're actually being serviced properly, so that oftentimes can avoid that CSI nightmare. Now,
Not to mention it keeps them in the service department. I was a dealer in New Jersey for 30 years, and we all know that in times of tough sales, your fixed parts and service revenue is what makes the store fly. So the more people that we can help a dealer keep in his service department with quality coverage, the more he's going to trade them out of those vehicles down the road and sell them another vehicle, not to mention the parts and service revenue that's generated while they are in the service department. Right now, the average age on the road is 12-year-old cars. It's the greatest in history amount of time for aged vehicles to be on the road. So how do you keep those people coming to your service department so that you can trade them out? Well, you got to keep them in coverage. So the more that we can help a dealer keep his customers in vehicle service contract coverage, the more they're going to stay and become customers who buy again.
So it's a great retention tool. And I think, what is there, a 50-mile tieback or a 40-mile tieback to the store on warranty coverages?
We try to tie them back to the store. We deal with 20 different administrators. Every one of their policies is slightly different, but that is the goal.
And let's face it, if you're under warranty, it's always assumed that it's free. So you're going to go back. And the NADA data shows us that it's not always free. So what's the average ticket roughly for a warranty repair?
The average warranty repair, according to NADA, is $396.
That's no small change.
Not at all.
And that's something that the warranty pushes back to the store. When you think of what dealers spend on marketing, they spend an awful lot of money, maybe more so on the sales side, although right now I'm sure they've cut back on some of that. But to make up for the revenue, you've got to really juice your service department. And, speaking of cost, what does a program like yours cost the dealer?
It costs the dealer zero. We charge nothing for it. We make our money based on some of our call center sales that we do on the dealer's behalf, but there are no upfront costs, no costs along the way. We're in the business of bringing dealers money, not asking them for money.
Wait a minute. Dealers are used to having somebody come in and say, hey, I've got this great product. It's only $5,000 setup fee. Then, we're going to take weeks and weeks to train. And then it's going to run you $3,000, $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So are you saying free, as in no setup fee, no training fee, and no fees per month?
That's 100% correct. We pay for the data download from CDK or Reynolds. We pay for the mail. We pay for our call center. We train the dealership personnel to expect the program and the folks that are going to walk in with the letter, how to direct them to F&I, all at no charge.
Now, you mentioned another key point. You pull from CDK or Reynolds. So that means you're Reynolds or CDK certified, correct?
That's correct. We're certified in all 50 states with banking level security. We have 7 of the top 10 national dealer groups in the country. We've been through legal tests in California. Data is always the number one concern. So our one-page agreement tells the dealer that you're only authorizing us to use the limited data fields, and it is very limited data fields that we see for one purpose only, to market vehicle service contracts on our behalf, and we agree we'll never share it in any way, shape, or form. Data security is always the key.
That's also a key ingredient to the program, because there are third parties that will access that DMS data through ways other than what those big companies have intended, by
Correct.
creating temporary usernames and passwords, all of which get caught by the bigger companies, and then those things get shut off. So now you've paid for a program that at any given time can be shut down until you're able to secure yet another connection. And And that's for good reason, because most of the data breaches that occur today occur through a third-party source that hasn't invested in the types of security protocols that they should. So it's nice to know that APC has spent the money and done the work to make sure that any access that they get to the dealer's DMS, that is a secure, authorized channel. So that's great stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
we were vetted by all the major DMSs. We have SOC 2 certification. It's crucial because a dealer's data is getting pushed all over the place by his registration data getting sold. So we don't want to be associated with anything like that. We secure a dealer's data under his name, and it never leaves that little pocket that it gets put in.
So we're going to talk about retention in just a second. But so we've established that there's less VSCs and other products being sold through the F&I office just by virtue of a lot less people going through that office. But with the resurgence, more so for some than others, of their service business, there's a lot of people coming through service. And there's one thing that I've noticed in walking into hundreds of stores across the country is that when I walk up to the service director or service manager, I'll ask them point blank, so how many cars did you do last month, customer pay? Some of them at 1,000, some of them 3,000 or more. And then the follow-up question will be, of all those customers, what percentage is out of warranty? And you know, you'd be surprised. Well, some people would be surprised to know that in many cases, it's 70% or more of their traffic is out of warranty. Right. And then the trifecta to the question is, okay, so your opportunity to sell service contracts was really good. How many service contracts did you sell in your service drive, not only this month, but last month, or let's take it one step further, year to date? And what's that answer generally?
They have no idea.
They have no idea.
And most of them have tried some kind of a service to try to turn their service writers basically into F&I people, and it never works. In 30 years, I can tell you my brother and I never figured out how to accurately market to the service customers. And there are more and more visiting owners that are a piece of that puzzle now. I believe that the greatest value our program has is we will accurately market based on mileage band marketing to those customers that a dealer could never spend enough time or money to figure out properly.
So the process that I've seen, and this is why it typically doesn't work, is that so a customer typically has to ask about it. That's number one. They don't, the service advisors are overtaxed as it is with all of the things they need to do during the course of their day. So really it's generated by the customer. Oh, I wish I had a warranty, or is there a warranty available? And I'm sure that conversation from the customer happens this much of the time. So Then the next step is for the service advisor to walk that customer, leave their station, and that's where they make their money, with the customer, to introduce them to the F&I person who is typically already too busy, right? And only concerned about the turns that are right in front of them to worry about spending time with somebody else now. Whether or not they bought from the dealership, they don't really care. All they know is they have so many things they have to get done that the service advisor bringing them somebody what they might think is a fishing expedition is the last thing on their list. So a lot of it falls apart there. You guys have a little bit more of a unique way to capture this kind of business. Why don't you share with us that?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get pushed to us each month all of the F&I data from the people who did not purchase. We're going to run it through 100 different filters to make sure we're not marketing to customers that lease or wholesales or dealer swaps. We filter that all out. In the service side of things, we're going to watch mileage bands. We're going to find out when that customer's warranty is about to expire. Or in the case of one customer we came across, they still had 18 months left on their vehicle service contract, but they weren't flying for their job anymore. They were driving. So we watched 3 repair orders come through where that mileage was going up so quickly. we were able to filter and say, this customer is going to run out of mileage long before their time runs out. And we were able to market effectively to that customer who was keeping their car, which more people are doing that now. They're buying out their lease vehicles and keeping them, and they're keeping the cars that they have.
At the dealer level, there's really no scientific way to get that business. Whereas you guys target specifically based on need and situation, the right customers that qualify for your product.
That's correct. And we have 20 years of history where we can track basically how consumers spend, when they spend, and then looking at where that matches up to how the vehicle is being used. So we very, very much target because we're paying for the mail, and we don't want to over market to a dealer's customers. So we're only going to hit them at 4 or 5 life cycle moments during their whole ownership period. If they don't respond at the 90-day mark, we're going to put them on a shelf and watch. And as their mileage increases, pick the next best time to market to them.
Now, there are some companies that, unless a customer is within warranty, they can only sell them their product while they're within warranty. But a lot of times, somebody's busy, they'll go out of warranty, not realize it, and then the dealer really has no option to sell them their own coverage, so to speak.
That's a very good point. And most of our administrators, because they have faith in us and how we're going to filter and not run into claims issues, they allow us to sell their vehicle service contract beyond the mileage that the store might be able to.
And one of the things that I see, part of that 12 years on average plus of the car being on the road, people are putting a lot more miles on their cars. So, yes. What type of mileage, do you have mileage limitations that you have to fall within in order to sell somebody extended service contract?
That's a good question. Most of our administrators will have some kind of a limit. We have several that are unlimited mileage. But in general, all of our administrators are going to be covering at least 80,000 miles and upwards of 150 on quite a few of the other administrators.
So let me make sure I understand it. So a customer can come into the dealer service drive, have less than 150,000 miles on their car, but well beyond their existing warranty or their previous warranty, and the dealer is able to offer them coverage on that high mileage car that brings them back to said dealer for warranty claims?
Yes. We can now marry customers with higher mileage that have been out of coverage back to that store.
Wow. I mean, that's huge, because I remember back in the day when a car was approaching 50,000 miles, you're talking about getting rid of it.
Right.
Today, I see cars advertised online for 200,000 miles on a Tacoma truck that we both know is going to go a lot longer. But now the customer has peace of mind of knowing that they can buy a warranty on a car that's 150,000, or some of your administrators more than that, to take them and give them coverage going forward. That's huge. And here's why it's huge. A computer processor on a car, typical car, electronic control module, could easily run $1,000
easily
for that one repair. And I don't care what the make, what the brand, you call any store and you ask them if they have that part in stock, and they'll either have it in stock or they'll be able to get it overnight for you. Why? Because those things fail.
Right.
It's really that simple. Is there a deductible or what's the cost to a customer for a covered repair through your program?
We have disappearing deductibles. We have no deductibles. We have $100 deductible. Again, each of our administrators gives us the criteria that they are willing to have us include in our call center.
Yeah.
So each one is a little bit different.
So foreseeably, if I owned a car and I secured a vehicle service contract to protect me going forward, If that dealer chose a disappearing deductible by having the work done at their store, then for that $1,000 or more repair could be zero to me.
That's correct.
And that's only one component out of many inside a car.
And NADA will tell you that 85% of 85% of the claims that will come in on that vehicle service contract will be back at that dealership.
I mean, that's an astounding number. And today, a lot of dealers participate in a reinsurance program, which is a smart thing to do. A properly set up reinsurance program will make the dealership itself more valuable than it could ever be without such a program. So is your VSC able to be fed into the reinsurance program, the dealer's program?
The answer is yes. And again, it depends on the administrator. We have guidelines across all 20 of ours as to what that administrator is comfortable with, but many will feed reinsurance.
That's pretty good. Now, you have a new Conquest Marketing feature. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So what our Conquest Marketing feature does, and some of our large dealer groups who did very well with the program requested it of us, is to be able to market for a dealer in a 10-mile circle around his store for all the people that are driving his brand but did not buy from him. So not to impede any other of our dealers, but people who may have bought from one of the services that deliver it to your house, which I don't even want to mention because I'm a dealer guy. But those people that buy that way, or maybe they buy from a private owner, we can market and sort of introduce the dealer as someone there, both to service that car and also to offer them extended coverage.
Now that's smart targeting, because if I owned a Honda store, let's say, and you're targeting Honda owners that didn't necessarily buy from me, they're more likely to come into my store because it's that brand. So you're not kind of diluting what you're doing by going after everybody. You can't be everything to everybody, but you can be a really good something to the ones that fit the profile that would benefit both the customer and the dealer.
Think of it this way: if that customer who bought from one of those outside services has a recall, he's going to need his Honda dealer to go to for that recall.
That's some smart business there, my friend. I think that, is there anything we didn't cover?
Well, I have a little quiz. I have a little quiz for your dealers that may be listening.
Okay.
So my quiz is.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's pause, because that way you can cut and add that in.
Okay. So I have a little quiz for your dealers to think about. So would you rather have a customer come in and you sell them a vehicle, you make a $2,500 profit on it, but you're not able to sell them a vehicle service contract? Or would you rather have two customers walk in with one of our letters, sell them a VSC where you make $1,250 on each one, same $2,500? Which would you rather have? Go ahead, Paul. I'll ask you.
I'd like the people coming back for as long as possible, because I know that a customer that comes into my service department over time for their service needs is 5 times more likely to buy their next car from me, the dealer, even if they didn't buy that initial car from me that they're servicing.
You got the riddle. That $2,500 for the single sale goes on this month's financial statement, but what's going to happen after that is a total unknown. Those two customers that you marry to your service department with coverage, where you're going to get all of their claims and have the opportunity to trade them out and sell them again, I think that's worth more to the dealer.
Absolutely, because each time they come in, you have the opportunity to build rapport with these folks. You have the ability to establish a relationship with them. And we all know that people buy from people they like and trust. Right. I have found over many years that the relationships that you can build in the service department with a customer far exceeds that one time they come in to buy the car, or maybe it's 2 visits when they come in to buy a car. When they're coming to you regularly and you greet them by name and you make them feel special and you take care of them, that's going to go a long way, not only for their business, but if I have a good experience, I'm going to tell all my friends, my family, my coworkers about that experience and get them to you.
One other thought I have for dealers, when I was a dealer and someone told me that they were going to mystery shop my store, it always worried me. So I would ask a dealer, do a mystery shop on your own store, have someone do it for you, and call into your service receptionist and your sales receptionist and say you're interested in buying a vehicle service contract and watch what happens. It'll make you sure you need somebody watching your back.
I'll vouch for that because I've done plenty of mystery shops myself, between hangups, between people picking up the wrong line, between too many transfers to have to re-explain the same scenario over and over. I'd venture to say they're capturing a very small percentage of that business. But as with anything else, if you leverage the technology, you get a lot more done. So Jeff, thank you very much for being on the show. Appreciate you sharing.
My pleasure, Paul.